All right, so housing no longer affordable. Next after that, we get into a man with 23 roommates that pay $2,100 a month. We're going to get into that as far as getting into the solutions. But as of right now, they're saying housing is no longer affordable. And then there's also people that are losing their homes / condos down in Florida. So let's deep dive into this for a little bit. Let's spend 10 minutes on this. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
A new ad from the Kamala Harris campaign promises to build 3 million new affordable homes if she is elected. Now, the shortage is an ongoing problem, and Fox 26's business reporter Tom Ziska is taking a look at some of these challenges and the benefits of solving it. Tom.
Caroline, Rashi, we got a little bit of rain and sunshine all at the same time here in Fort Bend County. The census reports that the average price for a new home last month was just shy of $430,000. Since that number keeps growing, neighborhoods like this one, which are all rental homes, continue to grow. The Harris plan to make the American dream of home ownership more affordable will not be easy.
It's a big undertaking, but at the same time, it's kind of like this is what you've been working hard for.
Crystal Evans has just moved into her newly built home in Acres Homes after years of searching and saving. The process of finding something affordable left a lot of anxiety.
I honestly believe that that is just what many Americans are struggling with today. Like, it's not a matter of them not wanting the home or being able to get into the home. It's can we stay in the home?
Let me hear what he got to say before I comment.
250 to 300,000 is affordable housing now, but only about 40% of the Americans can afford that.
Johnny Hollins specializes in building affordable housing in some of Houston's neediest neighborhoods. We first met him almost 4 years ago as he was starting to develop this property. Now there are 44 homes that are all sold as demand continues to outstrip availability, but costs keep going up. Hollins says material, labor, and land have all more than doubled in price in recent years, which is discouraging for a lot of builders.
If you're doing affordable housing, it's something that you're passionate about. It's not about making money.
To build millions more would take a concerted effort and cooperation that does not currently exist. The Harris campaign has suggested incentives for builders who specialize in first-time buyers and rental properties, and for municipalities to remove regulations that prevent additional construction. Johnny Hollins says it would be a start.
In order to make that work, you're going to have a collective effort mainly from city government, with the...
No, but wait a minute, Johnny. First of all, people think that the federal government can control what happens in housing throughout the United States of America. You can't. You can't. I keep telling people every single day, I tell people all the time, what do I say about voting, y'all? Especially for the people that feel like, oh my God, voting isn't necessary and all of this stuff, right? Voting isn't necessary, oh my God. I tell people all the time, every day, what happens locally is more important, way more important than what is supposed to happen on a federal level. The zoning, how much house you can build, the type of homes you can build, whether or not you're even in the vicinity of a home that can be built, and how large it could be, how large the plot of land is, what are the requirements as far as what is going on. I know in certain cities that I own properties in, and I just got the land, I have to maintain the land, meaning that they won't even let the land, if you don't cut the grass over the next month, over the next three weeks to a month, you're getting a fine. You're getting a fine. The type of homes that you can build, how it was rezoned, all of this stuff. It takes regional cooperation. It takes local cooperation in order for you to even start to have a conversation about housing in the first place. And so when I see a legislator on a large scale start to talk about this, they have no control what's happening in these states, let alone in these municipalities at all.
Permitting process, because, here in Houston, it may take a year to get a set of plans approved.
So outside of the politics and cost of making such a plan work, another factor in making homes more affordable will be in making them smaller. Right now, the median size for a new home is just over 2,100 square feet. Johnny Hollins imagines something closer to 1,500 square.
I was doing the same thing. The homes that I'm about to start building now are probably closer to about somewhere between 1,000. I prefer to be at least at 1,200 square feet to something about 15 to 1,600 square feet. You can go into the tiny home spaces and start to get into that. I think that that is a very profitable space to be in also, but it's only going to be profitable if you hold on to the property. But if you start trying to build it up and spending all of the money as far as making it attractive, because then it starts to be quality and materials and stuff because you already got a smaller footprint. I think that the real play for developers, not large-scale developers, not the Pulte Homes, not Lennar Homes, not all of those places, but people that are going to be building homes like me, we are largely getting into the space to where we're building in a smaller footprint. No longer is it going to be the McMansions. No longer is it going to be 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. It ain't going to be none of that. If you can build a home for a price that is affordable at a rate of about maybe 2 to 3 bedrooms, if you don't have a basement, whatever. If you have a basement, then you can build it. I'm probably going to forego the basement altogether. But if you can build a home that's 2 to 3 bedrooms with 2 and 2.5 bathrooms, you'll be set. You're just going to have to redesign it differently. And so we're going through the process. I'm working with my architect to develop a few different styles and blueprints that we're going to institute and that we can build much quicker. The development process, the permitting process is going to be the same. It's going to cost the same. But the materials got to be nice. You don't use as much of it, but it's got to take a concerted effort from people that actually care about the community. Honest to God, federal government, anytime federal government starts to get involved in something, they mess it up and it becomes more expensive and the timeline comes longer. The only way that you can really solve for this problem as a developer, now it's completely different on the side of the owners. The only way that you can solve this problem as a developer is you have to actually care and you have to make a concerted effort to it. The problem in the game of real estate right now is that it was so many people, and that's why I was asking y'all the question, and I said, what happened to all of those people that was doing real estate and those are leeches. Those are bad business people. Those are slumlords. Those are people that's looking to make a quick buck. It's not about that. It has to be cooperation both from the consumers and the buyers that you get a quality product, but that you're not being gouged as a result of it, which then gives you a better reputation as a builder or as a business owner to continue to do business in those communities. And so, there are ways for you to build housing. For the cost of the land, okay, we put that up. Borrowing money is expensive, so it's going to have to take people that got deeper pockets that's willing to put their own money up. I don't borrow money. I don't do any bank financing. How you design a home for it to be quality, but don't overcharge based off of what you want your profit margins to be, because you can still make a nice profit without overcharging people. If you go into real estate, you'll realize that a lot of times they go based off of the comps. So it's not about how much it costs the developer to build the house, because you don't really know how much it costs Lennar or Pulte Homes to build these homes. It costs them very little. The problem is that we compare it to the comps that's in the area because people care more about the value of the home than they care about the home itself. So the cost to build it, it could be minimized, right? You don't need crown molding. You don't need all of this crazy stuff. You can still have good insulation. You can still have, a decent roof on the home and all of this stuff. You don't have to have it all brick and stuff like that. But the cost to build the home don't have to be as expensive. If you can forego that and also forego the amount of money and interest that you're paying over to the bank that you borrow in order to build the home, ultimately you can sell it for cheaper. But then the people in the neighborhood don't want you to sell it for cheaper because it devalues their home, right? So there's a much, much deeper conversation, and it's much more complicated than just saying, oh, we could just build a whole lot of homes. It doesn't mean that people are going to be able to afford it, especially when the bank starts to take their cut in the interest and the interest rates that go along with financing these homes. So it's a whole lot that goes into it. Let me go over to Miami-Dade County, where it's a bunch of condo owners that are worried about losing their properties and their developments. And then I'm going to tell you why it's so difficult and why you should never really dive into these buildings, especially ones that's owner, HOAs, and a lot of these properties are neglected.
Every week we receive complaints from homeowners who say their condo associations are not working well and that the new law passed after the Surfside collapse has only made their problems worse.
Yeah, it's an issue the NBC6 Investigates team has been following closely. NBC6's Miriam Masihi spoke to some of the legislators working to change the law.
The 40-year recertification of Commodore Plaza has been overdue for 13 years.
The city of Aventura has been issuing violations, and now the 654 property owners fear an upcoming Miami-Dade unsafe structures hearing could mean they have to leave their units.
It makes me cry, really. At my age, I don't think that I should go through something like this.
These property owners say for over a decade they've been through several property managers, association board members, and staff, but problems persist. They point to lack of transparency.
It's a hassle to ask them for information. They take forever. They send you the wrong information.
They say they've reached out to the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, or DBPR's Division of Condominiums, looking for help.
I filed a 70-page complaint with the DPPR, basically noting everything from financial issues to questionable bidding problems and everything else. And I was told, you have to litigate.
According to their annual reports, from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023, that agency received 2,383 complaints about condominiums, of which 2,307, or about 96%, were resolved within 90 days. But when we asked the agency what resolved meant, they didn't answer.
I really thought that we were going to have more help from DBPR. They haven't bothered to even hire or have an interim ombudsman, so I'm very upset about that.
When we called the DBPR office, we were told the ombudsman's position, which is the liaison between condo owners and association boards, was vacant and that a supervisor was in charge. A supervisor, we learned, is an analyst that makes $51,000 a year. A day after we wrote the agency asking about the position Garcia says has been vacant for over 3 years, they posted the job looking to hire an attorney for the position, but didn't respond to our request for comment.
If we're filing complaints, if we're reaching out to you, it's because it's gotten that bad. It can't fall on deaf ears.
Aggravating their issues are the requirements imposed by the new condo law passed following the tragic collapse in Surfside. It requires condos maintain reserve funds for important structural repairs and maintenance.
The going to full reserves is going to put a lot of people on the streets.
We signed off on this for safety reasons, and it seems like we did not think of a financing mechanism and just overall consumer protections and consistency.
The major concerns are people on fixed incomes that are saying that this is becoming onerous on them, obviously.
State Senator Eliana Garcia and State Representative Alex Rizzo say they're looking at changes that can be made to the new condo law.
Let me tell you what's happening. All right, so first of all, everybody started getting pressure once that condo collapsed a couple years ago, and it was a big brouhaha because it was a whole lot of people that was trapped. And then there's a lot of aging structures in Florida. If you go and you stay and let's just say, for example, you get an Airbnb down in Miami or something like that, right? You can see that a lot of these buildings were built a while ago. Now, there's new buildings that's being built that they can't sell because Florida's real estate market is completely collapsing right now. And I told y'all, man, I was right. I told y'all 2, 3, 4 years ago, y'all was saying, Anton, should I invest in Florida? Anton, should I invest in Florida? It was a lot of y'all that was in here that was like, man, Anton, you wrong. We should invest in Florida. I said, listen, bro, it's going to be the first to go. Florida is going to be the first to go. I'm telling you, especially when these insurers start pulling out, especially when you see a lot of these people aging that decided that they wanted to retire. They're on a fixed income. It's going to cost too much. They're not going to be able to have house insurance. Homeowners insurance is going the same way in California. I said, no, move up to the Midwest. Anton, why you won't buy a property in Florida? Why you want to invest in Florida? Move up, go up to the Midwest. And then I gave y'all my reasons. Well, first of all, it's got the largest body of fresh water that we got. Like I went through and I told y'all, right? And so now what you starting to see is everybody having to pay the piper. A lot of those buildings are aging. A lot of them have crazy HOA fees. Well, why, Anton, do they have crazy HOA fees? Because the effort to maintain the building, which was largely neglected for a long period of time, the effort to maintain the building is a collective effort. So if the infrastructure needs to be updated, if something needs to change, if the windows need to be, whatever it is that needs to be done, right? That is collectively on everybody that's in the association. And it has to be managed by people that is ahead of the association, right? So they are the ones that have to go in and make sure that everything's taken care of. So in the instance of buying a condo, I personally don't like condos because, first of all, you're largely going to be paying into an association, and if it's not being managed correctly, then they can raise and jack those fees up, and then everybody have to suffer as a result of it, or the infrastructure itself is going to fall. Now, I do like buying properties and buildings, but it has to be a multi-purpose building. It has to be retail in it. It has to be a hotel as a part of it. And then maybe you'll have something at the top of it, but it has to be something that I know is going to be continuously maintained. And the value of it is also deep into the city and a specific, one of the most desirable parts of that city. But I'm not a fan of it. Largely what you see in this situation is that they've neglected the building for so long. All of the owners didn't really want to put in. It sounds like it was mismanaged on the owner's part, all of the owners in that building also. And now they're writing a 70-page complaint when these problems have been persistent for a long time. So it's going to be a lot of people that get kicked out. It's a lot of people that's going to lose their homes. It's a lot of people that's going to be ran out of Florida and a lot of these other states on top of it. So make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.